First, we have Season 10, Episode 10, Stalker. This is one of my favorite Season 10 episodes, obviously. I love the whole Beta uh, breaking into Alexandria and slaughtering everybody. It's just an all around creepy episode, and I love Beta. Oh, y'all knew it was going to be on the list somewhere, and we have Too Far Gone, the mid season finale of Season 4. And this is a very tragic and sad episode to me. I come to tears whenever Herschel gets killed. It's just, but it's everybody's acting is on point in this episode. I love it. Y'all may be surprised to see this on the list, but we have the season 5 episode, Them. And this is a very underrated episode. You don't really hear people talking about it a lot, but the scene in the barn with the tornado is just so powerful. I had to put it on the list. Next, we have Season 1, Episode 1, the one that started it all, Days Gone By. I love this episode. I think they did a great job adapting it from the comics. And yeah, they did a really good job starting out the series. I love the introduction of Morgan, Dwayne. Of course, Dwayne didn't last too long, tragically, but all around, love the episode. Frank Darabont is a terrific director, and that's why I put this one on the list. Next, we have the Season 3 episode, Arrow on the Doorpost. I love this episode because it's the one where the governor and Rick meet face to face for the first time. And yeah, I also feel that Andrea is kind of an underrated character. I don't love her, but I don't think she deserves a lot of the hate that she gets. So yeah, she really shines in this episode, in my opinion. So that's why it's on the list. Alright, next we have the first mid-season premiere from Season 11, No Other Way. And I love this episode because it is action-packed, and it is the end of the Reapers. Thank goodness, good riddance. And Daryl, that sexy-ass Daryl, kicks some major ass in this episode. So yeah, had to put it on the list somewhere, and I figured this was as good a spot as any. Heads on spikes, heads on spikes, heads on spikes, heads on spikes. That's really all I have to say about this episode. It's a tearjerker, heartbreaking, wonderfully morbid episode. But damn it, I love it. And it's crazy that it's the penultimate episode of Season 9, not the final episode. But hey, I think Angela Kane just knocked it out of the park with this episode. So that's why it's here. Next we have JSS from Season 6. I think it is the second episode, and this episode is another action-packed one. And Carol goes into Savage Beast mode, and oh, I love it. We learn a little bit more about Enid in this one and how she wound up at Alexandria, and the wolves attack Alexandria, and it's a very brutal episode too. But everybody just kills it. I love it. This may surprise some of y'all, but we have Service from Season 7. It is the 4th episode, and I love this episode mainly because it's Rick and Negan. I love the dynamic between the two, and it does suck seeing Rick beaten down like he is in this episode and all that, but oh, both of those men are just, they're so sexy. I could die a happy chick. Please let me have a three-way with Andrew Lincoln and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, me and them two, and Asana. Please, that's all I want. That's all I want. I'll never ask for another thing the rest of my life. I could die happy. Anyway, so yeah, that's the main reason I put it on this list. But it is a good episode too. Now we come to the season finale of Season 2, Beside the Dying Fire. And this episode gives me Night of the Living Dead vibes, like heavily. I'm sure y'all have seen that movie before, but I get a lot of Night of the Living Dead vibes from this episode. But it's a fantastic episode. It's the end of the whole farm arc, and which was kind of a slow burn, but it wound up being pretty cool in the end after it's all is said and done. But I love this episode. Season 8 is probably my least favorite season of The Walking Dead, but I love the episode Some Guy. The 4th episode, it mainly highlights King Ezekiel, Jerry, and Carol, and Shiva dies, unfortunately. But yeah, this is probably my favorite episode from Season 8 by far. And it's a tearjerker. I'm not gonna lie, I cried whenever the tiger got eaten by the zombies. So yeah, that's why it's on the list. This episode seems to be another mixed bag with a lot of people, but we have TS-19, Test Subject 19, the Season 1 season finale. And what can I say about this episode except I just like it because I think Dr. Jenner is kind of underrated as a character. We learn a little bit about the whole zombie apocalypse, but really not much at all, though. They leave it really, really vague. But really, all we do learn is in this episode. So, yeah, that's why I put it on the list. Next, we have Hounded from season 3, and this episode hits close to home for me because um, I too have mental health issues, and Rick is basically sitting in this episode talking to nobody. He is sitting talking on a phone to his dead wife. So I don't know, it just kind of hits real close to home because that's the kind of stuff I do whenever I don't take my medicine. So, and Andrew Lincoln, he really kills it on this episode too. So I love it. All right, I'm sure y'all were waiting for it. So here it is. Here's Negan, the last episode of the bonus episodes of season 10. And what can I say? It's just a fabulous episode. I love seeing the birth of Negan, and it was cool seeing him with his wife. It made me cry, of course, whenever she died. But it was awesome seeing Negan turn into Negan. And what else can I say? It's a great episode. Went back and forth between this one and No Sanctuary, but now we have 4 walls and a roof. And I like this one a little bit more than No Sanctuary because I love seeing the termites get their comeuppance. It is so badass seeing when Rick walks out of the darkness and tells them to kneel, put their guns on the floor, and then proceeds to take out his machete and slice him, Gareth to death. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Next we have the series finale for the whole show, Rest in Peace. And I've heard a lot of people say they don't like this episode for whatever reason, but I think it's a decent episode and a decent way to send off the show. But I absolutely, I mean, I was heartbroken whenever Rosita died, and I thought, oh man, I was just in tears most of this episode, especially near the ending. The last conversation between Rosita and Eugene just got to me big time. So yeah, that's why it's on the list. Next we have Choke Point from season 9, and this episode is awesome. It's a powerhouse of an episode. I actually like Henry in this episode, which is not something I can say for most of the other ones that he's in, but I actually start to care about Henry a little bit in this episode, and that's pretty damn cool. So yeah, the knife fight between Daryl and Beta is just freaking awesome. So yeah, that's why I put it here on the list. Okay, getting down to the wire, we have the season finale for season 4, just called A. And this is one of my favorite episodes because of the scene with Rick and the Claimers. Whenever Rick turns into Savage Rick I think for the first time here, and rips Joe's throat out, awesome. And and he deserved it too. And the guy that was gonna, have his way with Carl, which something I can't say here. But anyways, it was just it's such an intense episode, and I love it. Okay, number 2, we got No Way Out from season 6. It is the mid-season premiere of season 6, and what can I say about this episode except I love it. There's so much happens in this episode. It's really hard to keep up with, but I love the when Rick goes into savage mode and starts killing all the zombies because Carl gets shot in the eye because the Andersons were trying to escape with the Andersons, the Anderson family, and it's the end of their arc too. So yeah, but this episode is just it's awesome. I love it. My all-time favorite episode of The Walking Dead is, y'all are probably gonna freak out. It is the season finale of season 10, the season finale proper, A Certain Doom, and it is my favorite all-time episode of The Walking Dead for many, many, many reasons, but I'll name a few. The scene where Beta dies is it's so powerful, it gave me goosebumps. And to be honest, the first time I saw this episode, I was kind of let down by it. But then I saw it again, and it got to me, and I just love it. The scene where Beta's, getting surrounded by the walkers, and it kind of flashes back to his relationship with Alpha. And then whoever did the music in this episode, the soundtrack, I hope they got a raise. I hope they won some kind of award. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that is my all-time favorite episode of The Walking Dead, and now before long, I'm going to start on my top 20 least favorite episodes of The Walking Dead. So look forward to that if you look forward to anything that I do. And I guess I will see y'all there. Bye.